I believe that technology is only an enabler. I don't believe that technology by itself is an end. It's a means, not an end. But if you look at the adoption, the rate of adoption of mobile phones, and now smartphones, it goes so fast. It goes at least 20 times faster than when we started buying PCs. It goes 3 times faster than the adoption of the web, the internet. So there will be next year probably more than 10 billion phones on the planet, 1.5 billion smartphones, and people will stop buying computers. The change is not the change of the size of the screen. The change is the fact that you have it with you all the time. The phone you have in your pocket is more powerful than the computer you had at home 5 years ago, and it goes faster and faster. So in a few years, and I'm not talking 100, I'm talking about the next 3 to 4 years, this mobile phone will be your main computer. You'll probably arrive in the office and you just drop your phone on the table. The screen will be there linked with your phone. You have a keyboard linked with your phone. Then you grab the phone back, you go at home, and your phone is linked with your TV. And then you grab the phone, you go outside, and the phone is linked with everything. We don't exactly know the form, and that doesn't really matter at the end. It matters what you can do with it. That changes the way you actually behave, the way you talk to people, and the way you actually do commerce, for instance. We all start to share the same content. We see the same TV show, the same movies, the music. So we have this tendency of believing that everybody is equal, that we're going to be one single culture. Actually, it's not true. There's studies that were made in the 70s and then again refined in the 80s and the 90s about cultures. Culture is very hard to define. What is a culture? It's a mix of tradition, religion, behaviors. So there's many different definitions. But we can understand what means culture. We're Greeks. You know, we kind of mean. You know, I can recognize a Greek in Tokyo even if he speaks Japanese. The same thing happens online. The same thing happens the way we actually understand each other online. It's a bit more complicated because there's no the physical presence. There's no for example, the accent when we speak. That's one thing. But still, for instance, if you look at websites of very big brands, you'll spot differences. They're not always the same. They're not exactly the same because they do not talk to the same type of people. Basically, the studies that were made in the 70s were telling about, and then again later obviously, there's a concept of high context cultures and low context cultures. We have a tendency as high context cultures to read text, to read between the lines, to be very emotional about what is said in a text. So, for instance, if you take a web page and you look, you know, you have tracking devices, you can have studies on how people see the web, you know, and then you have heat maps. A Greek will look at the images. A guy from the US will look at the text first. This is really, so it shows that we are different. Now if you look, the latest technologies are Pinterest, Tumblr, Facebook is also making the images bigger, you know. Twitter will probably add images a lot. Because suddenly, since the world is becoming bigger, there's always the language problem, but suddenly they see that images might carry more meaning than text. Every group, when you're together, you kind of feel, you know the rules. So it's very easy for me to navigate, and it's very easy to create networks, very easy to go out, very easy to, you know, to meet new people, to do business, for instance. A Greek that goes out suddenly lacks all these rules. He goes to a new country, it is like, unless he has been, you know, born abroad, like I was, or he has studied abroad, it's kind of hard to navigate the new rules. Technology, what I love about the fact that we have these means of communicating very easily with the rest of the world. If you wanted to do that, you had to move. Go away from Greece, and or bring the people in Greece, right? Now you start having a choice of saying, you know what, I want to stay because I love Athens, or I want to live in an island, I want to live in Mykonos. And you're able to do that. For me, that makes two major shifts. One is that now I have the tools to communicate with people, to know other people, to network in the world. And the second factor is the youth culture. Again, they were born with the internet. We know that we won't have the same job, so we know we have to keep reinventing ourselves all the time. Technology goes fast, the society goes fast, but suddenly we feel more comfortable. You can create a lot of small subcultures and feel together, and maybe even meet then afterwards. So I think that's actually beautiful. So first, role models, especially Greek role models. So people that have succeeded, that have done startups, especially many startups, and they come back to help Greece. Second, ecosystem. TEDx is helping, and I'm sure some universities can also help. And third, access to capital. And this is the one where, of course, a change in the legal framework is needed. So then the government has a point. With these 2 points, you do not create an ecosystem. You don't suddenly have lots of startups, but maybe that can help. Remember what I said, because that's the fourth and last point. With the technologies that we have, you can have a team that's here and even someone based in the Silicon Valley. It's possible. That might be the stepgap. It's not dreaming of having a Silicon Valley in Athens tomorrow will not serve any good. Small step, baby steps. Maybe have a lot of people here, have a lot of access to good technology, and having people getting capital in the US, so what? I know startups that have founders in the US or in the UK and the team back here. That already helps. Because people, you know, the first time you may be not the founder of a startup, but you're part of a startup. You do that for 1 year, 2 years, say, oh, I have this idea, so I'm going to create mine. And then, you know, this is how it starts. You know, Silicon Valley was 50 years, even more in the doing. Athens, it will take time. But if you do these steps, you might achieve something. And I think we're going in the right direction with TEDx and other initiatives I'm hearing about here.